In 2012, 16 female students at Duke University and their professor, Dr. Rachel Seidman, started a campaign called Who Needs Feminism? People of different genders, ethnicities, and backgrounds took photographs holding signs saying why they need feminism. According to Duke University, the campaign was designed to draw attention to misconceptions about feminism and who is a feminist, as well as to promote discussion about the importance of feminism in everyday life. When I first heard of this, I thought it was a great way of progressing the feminist movement. But to my surprise, I found out that the campaign was met with large amounts of backlash, both online and on Duke University campus. An oppositional campaign was even started in response to Who Needs Feminism called Women Against Feminism, in which students held up signs stating why they don't need feminism. What I found in common among the submissions to Women Against Feminism was that all of the women in this campaign failed to address any sort of women's issue outside of themselves. So they decided that just because they personally were not oppressed, that all women around the world who today continue to face gender inequality and gender-based violence did not deserve nor need support through feminism either. So I am here to tell you why I do need feminism. I am a feminist because I believe in advocating for all women and all of the gender norm issues that feminism works to fight against, and recognizing the unique challenges faced by women around the world. So today, we will first examine the history of feminism and its progression to modern third-wave feminism. Then, we will analyze the importance of intersectionality and inclusion in the feminist movement, until finally, we will discuss why feminism is rated E for everyone, and why everyone can and should be a feminist. Let's begin by traveling back in time a few centuries to the year 1776, the same year the Constitution was ratified in the United States. Abigail Adams, the wife of everyone's favorite founding father, John Adams, famously penned a letter to her husband, urging him to remember the ladies. This line is widely praised as one of the most powerful first sparks of feminism in America. In fact, History.org regards Adams' letter as a private first step in the fight for equal rights for women. The fight for women's rights has made tremendous strides since the time of Abigail Adams, although feminism itself started with very humble beginnings. It is typically categorized into first wave, second wave, and third wave feminism, each wave dealing with a different unified goal. First wave feminism started roughly around the time of the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848. During this time, feminists focused on breaking out of gender roles that kept them in the kitchen and out of the male-dominated public sphere. These gender roles meant that women were excluded from voting, owning property, and participating in politics. In short, if you had two X chromosomes during this time period, you were labeled as too incompetent to be trusted with any sort of decision-making and were restricted to raising children and taking care of the home. This, unfortunately, also meant that all decision-making was left up to the men. And as we know, letting men be fully in charge of all decisions can end badly. Just ask my mom when she let my brother choose the color to paint our kitchen. Side note, neon green walls and garnet countertops do not look good together. In the 1800s, however, men put themselves fully in charge of policymaking for issues much larger than interior design. They actually appointed themselves to presiding over the bodies and very existences of women. As the Harvard Business School Library puts it, married women did not have a separate legal existence from her husband, nor could she own property in her own name or control her own earnings. This is what the Seneca Falls Convention and first wave feminism worked to fight against. And eventually, their goals came to fruition. This is typically symbolized by the 19th Amendment, which, in 1920, gave white women the right to vote. While this was a massive success for suffragettes and first-wave feminists, the 19th Amendment was a far cry from a victory for all women. While it gave white women across the nation access to a ballot, women of color were deliberately excluded from the 19th Amendment. See, the 19th Amendment stated that the right to vote in the United States shall not be abridged nor denied on the account of sex. This left room for one of America's most notorious and timeless villains, racism. Although a woman could not be denied her right to vote based on her gender, there was nothing stopping discrimination at the polls based on race. And this is where the issue of intersectionality, the main focus of third-wave feminism, comes into place. Intersectionality is defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary as the way in which the effects of multiple forms of discrimination, such as racism, sexism, and classism, combine, overlap, and intersect. The term was coined in the late 1980s by Kimberly Crenshaw as a way to describe how the unique struggles that come from a person's background all contribute to the obstacles that they face. So, for example, just because a low-income woman of color may face the same gender discrimination as a high-income white woman, the two are not comparable because they both face different obstacles from their lives. This is the same reason that Black women were still not able to vote until nearly 50 years after the 19th Amendment. Intersectionality is a vital part of third-wave feminism, as well as one of its most defining characteristics. Before its birth in the 1990s, benefits of the feminist movement were only extended to white, college-educated women, despite feminist efforts having been made by women of all demographics. According to History.org, before the third wave, feminism had failed to address the concerns of women of color, lesbians, immigrants, and religious minorities. In its beginning, the goal of third-wave feminism was centered around intersectionality and inclusion of all women regardless of race, class, sexuality, or religion. However, this sentiment seems to have gotten lost in translation over the recent years. A new term has emerged to distinguish this unfortunate new strain of feminism from intersectional third-wave feminism, and it's called toxic white feminism. According to ABC News, white feminists deploy feminism as a marketing strategy, and its goal is not to alter the systems that oppress women, but to succeed within them. Or as I like to call it, #girlboss. This type of corporate feminism simply pastes the word girlboss on shirts, hats, anywhere and everywhere on social media, and then markets it to women as the ultimate display of feminism. Rather than focusing on helping women of color, LGBT women, and women from around the world who continue to face oppression, white feminism diverts attention from real women's issues to minute issues that are pointless and sometimes just plain ridiculous. This type of so-called feminism has actually uprooted the inclusivity efforts of third-wave feminism and has given the entire movement a bad name. It is important to not forget the real issues that feminism deals with. As we discussed, sexism did not end with the 19th Amendment, not in America, and certainly not around the world. Even today, gender inequality exists in many different forms. This includes child marriage, genital mutilation, and lack of access to education for girls. UNICEF reports that worldwide, nearly 1 in 4 girls between the ages of 15 and 19 are neither employed nor in education and training, compared to only 1 in 10 boys. Additionally, feminist efforts are also supporting men and boys issues globally. According to the Huffington Post, the problem with the word feminism is that it is taken as a binary, only for women, when in reality, gender roles are just as harmful to males as they are to their female counterparts. Brown University states that the World Health Organization has recognized that men's tendencies to die at younger ages may correlate to the harmful ways that masculinity has been defined in society and the ways that men have been conditioned to practice it. These are the issues that us feminists are committed to fighting against, fighting gender inequality in all of its forms. UNICEF says that the efforts of feminism around the world are leading global movements on issues ranging from sexual and reproductive health rights to equal pay. And the best news is that contrary to many misconceptions, you don't have to be a woman in order to be a feminist. After all, feminism is rated E for everyone. The only criteria to being a feminist is believing in gender equality for everyone everywhere. So, to recap, from its humble beginnings at the Seneca Falls Convention, intersectional feminism has been a revolutionary movement that has changed the world. Today, women and girls around the world are empowered to step outside of traditional gender roles and fight sexism and patriarchy. And no matter who you are or where you're from, anyone can be a feminist. I am a feminist, and I'm proud. I'm proud to believe in gender equality, and I'm proud to support women and girls around the world who fight oppression every day. And most of all, I'm proud to be an advocate for all women, which is something that everyone should be. Feminism. It's rated E for everyone.